Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The last segment of this free-for-all Friday edition of Focal Point, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Clip 5 is Louis Gohmert, one of my heroes in the United States Congress. He's a representative from the state of Texas. He tells it like it is. And what he talks about in this soundbite is the problems that a welfare state creates, that it causes more problems than it solves. We have spent 50 years fighting the war on poverty. We have spent actually more than our entire national debt. We've spent somewhere around $20 trillion fighting the war on poverty. We have more people in poverty today than we did when we started, or about the same. It hasn't really improved things. So we've spent our entire federal debt. The entire federal debt has been spent trying to get people out of poverty, and according to our government, we got as many people on poverty as we ever have. And it creates this sense of dependency and this sense of entitlement. It is destroying families. It's destroyed the black family. And this is what Louis Gohmert talks about, and actually says, looking at the ravages of the welfare program, that's what got him into politics. Let's listen.
But if it weren't for the policies in this war on poverty declared 50 years ago, it may well be that I would not have ever run for Congress, because what got me thinking about it first as a state district judge back in Texas was seeing more and more young women, single women coming before me, single moms charged with welfare fraud under state law, a felony, so they came before me as a felony judge. And I heard the story over and over and over, how as a young girl in high school, she was bored with high school, and someone suggested, well, why don't you just drop out of high school and have a baby? And then the government will send you a check, and they'll send you a check for every baby you have out of wedlock. Drop out, have a baby out of wedlock, get the check from the government, and the ones that came before me would normally explain it wasn't enough. And so I thought, well, maybe if I have another baby and get another check, it'll help me get out of the hole. But it didn't. One woman had 15 kids, didn't even know where they all were. That was the most that I ever dealt with. And it began to really eat away with me that in the 60s, the federal government, desiring to help poor moms who were dealing with deadbeat dads that weren't helping, decided, we'll help. We'll give a check for every child you can have out of wedlock.
So Gohmert's point was we were subsidizing illegitimacy. Now, people are rational beings. If they want to have more disposable income, they want to have more money coming into the household, people are smart. And a young woman who's unmarried, because if she's married, she doesn't get the welfare help, so she can't marry the dad. She's got to have this kid on her own. She's got to be a single mom. She looks at the tables and says, look, if I want, you can look this up. You can look up the tables and see how much money you get for every child out of wedlock. And she says, well, look, I can boost my income another X number of dollars a month just by having another kid to somebody I'm not married to. So she says, I got two choices. I can go get a job, or I can just engage in sexual promiscuity and have another child out of wedlock, and I get more money. So I can have a little bit of fun, and I get more money. So that's it just makes perfectly good sense. And so we're crippling people with these policies that are intended to help people. Let's go to Joe, El Dorado, Arkansas. Joe in El Dorado, Arkansas, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, it's always good to hear you and ARN being outriders for the Christian country. Certainly appreciate it. But I'd like to say is that this immigration thing is nothing but a smokescreen for Obama to cover up all the bad things that he's done. I mean, we've been having Mexicans come over to America work before when the border was at Texarkana, Arkansas. So, I know that's a problem in some cases, especially when they're drawing welfare. But I don't think it's the problem that they're trying to make the American public look at when it's like they're trying to see, watch this, don't watch me over here.
Yeah.
And get away with things that are totally wrong, like Benghazi and the IRS and the 17 times that Obama has violated the Constitution when he should have been impeached for every one of them. Those are the things, it's like the magician does, shaking a hand over here and doing something over here so you won't look.
Yeah.
And another thing about these these unwed mothers, from your town, if you take your computer and punch it up, the birth announcement in a 100-mile circle, and look at the birth announcement and see that the women and the men who are having children, not married, and generally there's kids underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actual fact. I've done it. And I don't know what the answer is Christ in their life. We know that. But it just all bogs up on American people. And y'all talk about it every day, and it's so good that you do, because it makes a lot of people aware of the problem that they don't know, that
All right,
turn
Joe.
on to y'all.
Well, listen, I appreciate your call very much, and I think part of the solution, obviously, Joe is absolutely right. The solution is Christ. That's what we pray for, revival every day to come. We don't understand that's the answer, because you and I, most of us in this listening audience, we don't need some kind of a law to tell us to be faithful to our wives and to be good parents to our kids. We do that because Christ has transformed our hearts. What we can do in our public policy is just stop subsidizing illegitimacy. We need to send a signal as a culture, look, if you have a baby, we are going to expect you to take care of your baby. That is the adult thing to do. It is the American thing to do. It is the responsible thing to do. So we are going to expect you to take care of your baby, to provide for your baby. So one of the things that's going to mean is you better be careful about sleeping around. You better start thinking ahead and only have sexual intimacy with your husband who is committed to you and will be faithful to you. So you better start thinking about the kind of man that you're going to marry. Is he dependable? Is he trustworthy? Is he faithful? Is he a hard worker? Is he committed to providing for his family? Better not get involved with any guy that doesn't have that kind of character. Don't get involved with a guy who is going to sleep with you before you get married, because that proves he can't be trusted. So don't get involved with a guy like that. And so if we send that signal to young women, look, we're not going to subsidize any more illegitimacy. We're going to expect you to be an adult, to be responsible, take care of that baby. And your family can chip in. Maybe your church family can chip in if you have circumstances that you can't control. We understand that happens to everybody. But we're going to expect you and your family to be the ones that take care of your baby. Now, Rob, let's grab that clip 7, the More Boys. We're going to finish with this. Obamacare, this thing is a continuing unfolding disaster. The White House has dumped that Canadian outfit that developed the website, that CGI. They fired them, $292 million down the sewer. They're hiring somebody else for $90 million to try to fix it. Humana, one of the major health insurance companies, saying, look, the mix of people is worse than we thought. Remember, they got to get young people signing up that don't need health care so they can take that money and spend it on old people. And Humana is saying, look, we're not getting enough young people signing up. So that's another disaster that is brewing. 13,000 minimum of Obamacare applicants. Their insurers have no record that they've signed up. So they went on Obamacare, they enrolled, they picked a plan. Their insurers have absolutely no awareness or knowledge of their existence. So they're going to the doctor, can't get any help. And we've had the stories about the guys that signed up, they got an account, and they tried to cancel it. They tried to back out of the system. They tried to delete, and they could not do it. Here's a little song. We're going to finish with this. This is the More Boys singing the song. You'll recognize the tune, an old Kingston Trio song, The Man Who Never Returned. Let's listen.
tell you of the story of a man named Tony on a tragic and fateful day. He fired up his browser, kissed his wife and family, went to shop on the ACA. Well, did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his family's still uninsured. Poor old Tony, he may shop forever on the Obamacare website. He's a man who never returned. Tony got a cancellation from his current insurer saying doesn't meet the ACA. But we'll give you a new plan that is fully compliant. It'll cost you twice as much, okay. And did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his family is still uninsured. Poor old Tony, he may shop forever on the Obamacare website. He's a man who never returned. Now all night long.
And so that's what our last caller was saying. Look, this is a disaster. President Obama is looking for anything to divert attention from this. That's why he's grateful for the Chris Christie crisis, because all the bandwidth now is being soaked up by the media going after Chris Christie. Well, that's it for today. That's it for this week. I want to give you a blessing as you head in to your weekend. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times in every way. The Lord be with you all. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to bow low before God, stand tall before man, stand in the gap, and never forget we are fighting a winnable war. That's it for this week. You are now free to move about the weekend. Focal Point AFR Talk.
Let me tell you of the story of a man named Tony.
Necessarily reflect those of